Good morning. Today is February 15, and we're reading page 614. And the topic today is aspects of existence and the principles of action and interaction. Number 19. Why is it that the act of giving leads to prosperity and growth? It is because this act is in line with the original principle of God's creation. God created not by taking, but by giving. When we give, everything increases. When we change our attitude to one of giving, then everything will increase. When we receive again and again, we are diminished. Why is this? It is because when we go along with the principles of God's creation, the universe supports us. The whole universe supports us. 20. Everything in the universe needs energy in order to exist. However, energy doesn't arise by itself. For energy to exist, there has to be constant action. Only constant action creates energy. In other words, for energy to exist, action is required. And if this energy comes into existence through action, then how is this action maintained? Since nothing acts on its own, there must be subject and object partners. This is an ironclad principle. Subject and object partners don't interact in order to remain as they are. Rather, they interact in order to advance to a higher level. This is the principle. 21. All things must have a dual structure in order to exist. When God creates, He acts for the sake of others based on His deep love, and invests again and again, forgetting how much He has invested. This reveals that the core of our great universe, for example, the solar system and the countless heavenly bodies in the universe, are round in shape. Everything moves in relation to a central nucleus. Love is the same. Love for humankind emanates with the realm of God's heart and serves as the axis of the entire universe. It has moved history continuously toward God's own perfection and completion of His ideal of creation. You will see that it is the same in the spirit world. All existence consists of subject-object partnerships in an atmosphere of love. 22. In order to develop, we always have to seek to reach a position better than our present one. Action occurs only when something can be added. If the result will detract, action doesn't occur. Only when two have become one does development ensue. When there is no unity, there is absolutely no development. This is an ironclad principle of the universe. Unity comes only when both partners find their value will increase. If it were a principle that interaction leading to a minus brought unity, this world would disappear. If the principle's logic were based on a rule that things unite by becoming smaller, the whole world would regress. If there is such a principle in the world, even if one side of the world were to develop and the other side will decline, there is no such law. Now it's number 23. Subject and object partners interact only when their action will lead to something better. Otherwise, they will not interact. This is an ironclad principle of the universe. In a chemistry lab, you can never force certain elements to bind with certain others. We're now on page 616. If you tried it and the end result would be negative, the elements know that their interaction would detract from both, so they do not interact. God will not even let them relate with one another. That is a principle. There are some elements, however, that naturally relate with one another without hesitation. They know that their interaction will always form something bigger and better. They engage with one another because they are in the position to add something. So no matter how much you try to prevent it, it will interact. This is the principle according to which this universe was created. 24. In atoms, electrons surround the protons. Protons and electrons interact because their purposes harmonize in forming an atom. Their individual purposes cause them to unite. God too is an existent being, albeit on a higher level. Existence means that he also has to be a real being of substance. In order to exist eternally, he too must have internal subject partner and object partner characteristics with dual purposes, perfectly harmonized. What does this mean? In the end, it means that God exists as the harmonization of the characteristics of subject partner and object partner. 25. If all subject and object partners are completely united in eternal love, the universe is responsible to protect them eternally. If any third force tries to destroy them, the force of the universe will remove it. This represents the principle of existence of the entire visible world. The principle is the same everywhere, including the world of love. The spirit world and the current reality of our world on earth. This universal principle functions everywhere. This is why we have to live according to the principle. 26. It is difficult for created beings to harmonize on straight horizontal line. A line is something that connects 2 points. There is no harmony on a straight line because on a straight line, the farther things move, the farther apart they become. They will never come back together. That is why the starting point of this world and the universe was not a straight line. It is great to have 3 starting points. When you go around 3 points, you create a sphere. From the status of moving along the straight line, how could entities have found the 3-point basis for a sphere? Moving in one line, they cannot do this. We have to acknowledge a third power's intervention. Thus, we find the logic behind the existence of God. The origin of creation surely must have begun with either giving or receiving action. Which one do you think came first? If at first God's action has been to receive, the whole universe would have come to attach itself to God. There have been nothing but God. If he had intended just to receive, nothing else ever would have existed. 27. How did motion begin in the universe? There can be no motion on a straight line. A straight line connects 2 points but brings nothing into harmony. The harmony of creation begins with a third point. From that third point, a curve is formed through which a circle is created. When circular motion begins going through these 3 points, they are connected. Does this movement begin with a pushing or pulling action? Unless you solve this question, you cannot resolve the fundamental questions of the universe. Movement begins with pushing, which is easier. Pushing is easier. Pulling requires twice the energy, so it could not make sense to start there. Therefore, investment begins with us pushing. 28. The world is round, the moon and sun are round, the atomic world and the molecular world both have rounded features, but they could not have become the way on their own. It is certain that nothing rounds off itself. The interaction between any subject and object partner demonstrates real and smooth harmony and has to be circular. All existing beings need this realm of the ideal because they try to interact and create a relationship. They naturally become rounded. What kind of people are well-rounded? They are people who do not collide with anything, no matter which direction they take. No matter how much they are pushed down, they do not exist, but pop up somewhere else without altering their essential character. 29. In the universe, even the air wants to embrace something round, not something with corners. Nature embraces that which is round. This is the ideal shape, which wastes nothing. What is the original reason for this? The rounder something is, the rounder it lasts. The less rounded something is, the more friction and waste occur. That is why people appreciate that which is round. When we say something is harmonious, it means it does not have sharp edges, but is spherical. It is the same with our eyes, nose, our mouth, and every part of our body. They are all rounded. 30. When we look at the world, we see that everything follows the principle of revolving. If energy moves in a straight line, it is constantly dissipated. The first principle God employed for the purpose of creating the world was to utilize the energy emitted in a straight line and making it revolve. Therefore, the principle of the world is the principle of revolving. At the same time, it's the principle of motion. When you study chemistry, you research and analyze materials and observe the phenomena of their motion and action. You come to know that nothing goes against the principle of revolving. Everything is turning 360 degrees. The universe revolves, society revolves, and our mind also revolves. If anyone knew how to revolve around the heart of God, who is the center of the universe, that person naturally would revolve when God revolves. As long as God revolves, the universe will revolve. When God revolves, we revolve, and all creation revolves as well. So that ends our Hunduke today. Tomorrow we'll be reading page 620. The universe began with the principle of motion and action of energy. That will be tomorrow. So good morning again. Today is snowing and we have 3 inches of snow here in Washington, D.C. So Keep safe, drive carefully, manse manse, and have a great day. Bye-bye.